I had already left the brew house and was kind of taking some time and relaxing. And in the back of my head, kind of hoping that Britt would ask me.
Fingers crossed.
It was like a New Year's Eve party that you had at your house.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know yet. We've had some drinks, but would you want to do bagels with me? And I was stoked.
You're listening to the Behind the Village podcast. Our guests today are Cam and Britt from Poppies Bagels. This is exciting because we haven't done an in-person kind of location situation. So this is exciting.
Yeah.
At Poppies.
Yeah.
Poppies is our first one.
We get to be the first ones.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes well.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be good. So why don't you introduce yourselves?
Oh, well, my name is Cameron Fraser, and I'm one of the owners of Poppies.
And I'm Brittany Hicks, if you want my full name. And I'm the other owner of Poppies.
Very cool. So I guess tell me about the two of you and why Poppies? Like what kind of made it come together as Poppies?
I suppose I will start.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I have always wanted to open a bakery or a cafe of some sort. I've always had a bakery that I ran out of my house, kind of low stakes, which was kind of nice. It was always like my side hustle. But in the back of my head, like always 100%, I'm going to open a cafe one day. Yeah. It was just all about timing. And, you know, I'm a little bit older now. It took me a while to get here, but the timing slowly but surely got a little bit better. So I moved to Orillia a few years ago and I started doing the farmer's market, which was a hit, but I just did sweets. So it was like cakes, pastries, things like that. And then I started doing bagels a couple summers ago and they just like blew up, which was cool. It was like the most I'd ever had like recurring customers and they wanted deliveries to their houses. And like the bagels just like really, really blew up and took off. So that's when I really started thinking like, okay, like there's a business here. I think we could actually take that next step, but doing it by myself was a very scary thought.
Yeah.
So Cam is a friend of mine's boyfriend at the time. That was how I knew Cam. So I knew that he was a chef, that he had opened a few restaurants. He'd opened the kitchens there and ran the kitchens there, which is something I've never done. So I had kind of the passion and the recipe and the skills to do it, but I knew that Cam would be like the perfect addition because he also is a chef, could take over on that side of things, but also kind of knew how to actually run a kitchen and how to staff a kitchen and all that. So he was going to be leaving his job. I was ready to take the next step and start looking at spaces. So I approached Cam and asked if he'd be interested. And I guess I'd let you take it from there.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. I had already left the brew house and was kind of taking some time and relaxing. And in the back of my head, kind of hoping that Britt would ask me.
Fingers crossed.
It was like a New Year's Eve party that you had at your house.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know yet. We've had some drinks, but would you want to do bagels with me? And I was stoked. Yeah. Super excited.
That's cool.
And Britt had already done a lot of legwork, definitely, with all the farmers market and the Instagram and a lot of work put into it.
Yeah.
So I knew that this was going to be awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you have a background, you mentioned you were a chef, so you already had that culinary background.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been working in the industry now for 13 years. Started as a dishwasher in Banff when I moved out there when I was 21. It was just the job that I could get because it's such a hospitality town, and fell in love with it. It was like a mom and pop shop. So the head chef was the owner and the front of house manager was the owner. Through there, they put me through school. Like I did like kind of an apprenticeship where I got my red seal in Calgary. And then worked my way up. I ended up leaving El Toro when they sold it. I was the sous chef of their location and stayed on for a couple months to help the new guys take over. And then moved on, tried different restaurants. And another notable one would have been Double Zero in Calgary, where I kind of really got my hands on dough and really mass producing dough.
Yeah. Just dough.
Yeah. We make a lot of bagels. It's a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
So you gotta have some good posture. And some
bagel posture
and some good community around you. You gotta have fun while you're doing it too.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Brittany, you also mentioned farmers markets, and that's where you kind of built, I guess, your clientele, your following, your diehard fans. Did you have a background in like culinary at all yourself, or
I
is it
did.
just, okay?
Yeah. So I went to culinary school right out of high school. I took a year off and then went to culinary school with the focus on pastry chef. That's always what I wanted to do, was the desserts, but I did both just to kind of get the skills of both. So I went to Humber College for that. And then immediately after that, before diving into working in a kitchen, I moved to Australia for a year because I just wanted to get some travel out of my system. Little did I know it would then lead to me traveling for, the next 10 years because I fell in love with traveling. So I got a job in travel instead of doing like a full-on job in a kitchen. So basically I had the basis, I'll say 15 years ago. I don't want to age myself, but so went to culinary school, had all the skills, took a bit of a break, but that whole time is when I was always doing the markets or selling cakes out of my house, things like that. I always had a job on the side doing baked goods, but it was never like the prime focus.
Yeah.
So yes, did a lot of travel. And then once I was like, okay, you've got it out of your system, bought a house, moved up here with my husband. And I was like, okay, I think now is the time that I can like actually fully focus on doing it as a business.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned, I want to know about, because you mentioned that New Year's Eve, where you were kind of hoping and waiting to. So, like, what was the lead up? Like, were you just kind of talking generally about wanting to do this, and then you've just kind of secretly been hoping and kind of listening? Or
I guess from my side of it, it was like, to me, it was like a natural match. Like it made the most sense to me. I think that Cam and I work off each other in really good ways because he does have that background knowledge of working in the kitchen, whereas I can be very like, I'm all excited and just want to go. But it's good to have both sides of it. So I was already thinking, okay, Cam's thinking about, changing roles. This is the perfect time to jump in. I think we probably had some loose conversations. Our group of friends has dinner parties every month. So there's like a group of 10 of us. We get together. It's very fun. That's where we would spend most of our time together. And I think that the conversation just naturally went that way. And when the bagels really went off, that's when I started slowly talking about it more seriously. So I think I'd probably planted the bug without even knowing it. And then, of course, you have a couple glasses of wine and you get a little bit more like, it's New Year's Eve, it's a new year, should we talk about this? Because I think I had made my mind up, like, I'm going to go for it, but I need help. So it was kind of the perfect opportunity, and Cam's reaction was great, but I think both of us were like, let's have this conversation tomorrow. But it was a good, it was a nice start to the conversation.
The follow-up, the sober conversation. Afterwards, we took a drive into Toronto and went to one of my favorite bagel shops and just talked about it all the way down to Toronto. Got bagels, ran into one of my best friends from grade 3 at the bagel shop.
oh, cool.
And then headed home and continued talking about plans and kind of our visions and make sure we're not like, I don't know, thinking of something
Totally different plans.
Different directions.
Like, I didn't know Cam loved bagels so much. I didn't know he grew up down the street from all of these bagel shops that he would go to every weekend. So, like, for me, I was like, ooh, bagels. I like to go to New York and have bagels, and that's my favorite part of traveling is trying food, right? So then it was kind of cool for him to be like, well, let me show you my favorite bagel spot, and the fact that he even had a favorite bagel spot. Not a lot of people do here, realistically. So yeah, that was really cool. I was like, okay, this all makes sense. It's coming together even more.
So when did you open Poppies officially?
We actually took over this lease February of last year. And it looked very different at the time. It was bright orange for starters. It was a great space. We loved it so much. But in terms of actually opening our doors, that was July 1st of last year. So it hasn't quite been a year yet.
We're
almost there.
That's
Canada Day is our anniversary, so we'll never forget it. Yeah. But yeah, it was February of last year was when we really kind of took the leap. So it wasn't that long after New Year's Eve. We were like, we're ready.
You're ready to go. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like action is like what gets things moving, and then you kind of figure things out along the way.
Totally.
And it's
100%.
just, I think that's the way to do it. Some people are very meticulous planners, and that's cool. But yeah, I appreciate just diving in. And
there was a lot of diving in. Even I think Cam would say, to the point where we opened the doors, I was very we were diving in. I would say, pretty full on. It's nerve wracking, right? Like it was our first business. Our first time working together as business partners. There was a lot of brand news. But yeah, we did totally just have to dive in. And we're like, we got to try it. If it doesn't work, we'll figure that out. But let's just go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there something that people don't know about bagels? Like, is there kind of anything? Oh, there's lots. Yeah.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Anything kind
Oh,
of behind the scenes?
Montreal and New York style.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
It's kind of, in my opinion, and it's all just an opinion, really.
Yeah.
And often we find ourselves saying they're Orillia style, because we definitely respect and love both categories. And we kind of sometimes pull a little bit from either one or the other. We do call ourselves New York style.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, no, I would say like that difference of New York versus Montreal. A lot of people
Yeah.
maybe think they know and don't actually really know the difference, which is cool because we get a lot of questions about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice. We have the kettle right at the front. So it's either Cam or I usually or one of our bakers that can answer that question of like, what are you doing over there? Like, why are you boiling them? And I think that's kind of the cool part about it is we can be interactive with our customers and be like, this is what makes it a bagel. If you don't boil it, it's just a bun. So, yeah, so boiling it gives it like that chewy outside with the soft inside. And that's true for New York or Montreal. So, yeah.
And what is the difference?
Yes, here we go. Yeah, I know. This is not to a T. If you Google this, it's not going to say exactly what I'm about to say. But for me, the difference is they do it at a higher oven, and a lot of the times in Montreal, it's a wood-fired oven. So that's different from New York. And they boil it in either malt or honey, so it gives it that like sweet, kind of harder coating. Whereas a New York style is usually just boiled in water or salted water. And you don't get that that hard Montreal style bagel. It's more of a softer, chewier.
So how many bagels do you typically prep, either like a day or a week? Like, I'm sure it's many.
So,
Very
so
many.
we make our bagels from scratch every day.
Wow.
We're averaging about 400 a day.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah. I'll tell you the most that we've ever made would have been 900.
Wow. In a single day?
Yeah. And once you get to that number, everyone's tired. Everyone's grumpy. Yeah. The oven doesn't want to work anymore. The water doesn't want to boil anymore. And then
That is an insane
and
number of
everyone's
bagels.
tired.
Do you pretty much stick within your location now, or do you still go out and do, not necessarily farmers markets, but events? And
Right now, location, we do some wholesale. So there are a couple of places that sell on our behalf, which is great. Would love to do markets. I think we're trying to figure that out as something we can do probably more of a next summer than this summer. Again, we are still young, but I loved doing the markets. I think Cam did as well. It's such a fun way to chat to people. I really like getting out of the shop and doing stuff like that. So maybe not a consistent every Saturday market, but events and things like that. Absolutely. We want to get back to it. It's our roots, right? So
Yeah.
I would love to do it again. And yeah, we both had a really good time doing it. So
cool. Going back to making bagels, how long is that process? Like, how early do you have to be here to prep and, all the dough stuff and
Yeah.
kind of
it's
stuff?
it's a long process. I mean, huge shout out to our bakers. They get here at 4:00 in the morning. The first baker's here at 4, because start to finish, it is about 3 hours if you're doing it right. So basically they've got to come in, they mix the dough, and then it's got to rest for about an hour, and then they can shape it into the balls that you will eventually turn into a bagel, and then those have to rest. And then you kind of open them up into that bagel shape that we're used to. Then we boil them. So that, basically from the very first mix to when they go in the oven, I would say is about 3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I tell everyone.
Yeah, so that's why we do sometimes sell out, because we try and make sure we don't have too much food waste, but we basically like to do 2 shifts in a day. We'll do that first round, and then we'll knock out another round right after that, so that we always have bagels fresh when we open, and then kind of another round right before lunch, and then if we sell out, we can't, it's
You
3
can't-
hours, we're kind of strapped, right?
Yeah,
So
you can't just whip up another.
yeah, I wish,
Yeah.
but yeah, and you want them to taste consistent every time, so I would never want to rush that process.
no.
But
And you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a new day every day. Especially this first year with the holidays, we didn't know what to expect. Snowstorms, ice storms.
Yep.
And the result, it's just it's a moving target, and we try our best. And it's a tough goal to try, and we want to sell out every day to prevent food waste, to be making fresh every day. So it is a moving target, and it's difficult, but
Yeah.
we're doing pretty good.
Figuring it out.
Yeah. And we got lots of options. We're constantly donating to the fridge, the
Yep.
new fridge. We're also sharing place,
Mhm.
and then we're using Too Good to Go as well. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear too, because then I like knowing that the businesses I'm supporting also support the community. So that's really nice. What's your favorite part of maybe what you've created with Poppies? Doesn't have to be the bagels, but it can be bagels.
I've got a good one.
Yeah.
And even just as we were talking, you may see it. I waved to someone. It's all of our like the community. Everyone who comes in through that door is so happy and so excited to see us, and it bounces back and forth. We always try our best to keep that great attitude, keep a smile on our face, and it seems to reflect really nicely in the community, and it's so much fun having such awesome regulars.
Yeah, piggybacking on that for sure. Like we have the best customers. Everyone is so kind and welcoming, and like for the first year, that's a very scary part of it. I've never had to fully be, customer facing every single day, so that was intimidating. And we've had like nothing but positivity come back at us, which is great. But yeah, it's such a nice community to be a part of, and not just our customers, but like the other shop owners in downtown. Like everyone's so welcoming. There's no competition. It's that part of it has been really good. And then also like truly being our own boss is great. Like, it's so like coming from the corporate world, it's I didn't even hate my job before, I had a great job, but it's different when you get to be your own boss, and it's awesome. Like, and we have great staff and people we can count on. So yeah, I think it's built our relationships inside and outside of the shop. It's probably made all of them stronger because it's a whole new ball game, and it's strengthened all of our relationships, I think. Yeah.
Very cool. What does your friend group think? Are they like really excited for you?
So supportive. So supportive. And they're all like, we were there on the ground level.
We were there when
we were at the dinner parties. We knew this was happening. Friends and family have been amazingly supportive. I think that has been really, really cool as well. And like brought our friends and family closer together too. Which is really awesome.
I got to give a shout out to our partners.
Oh my God.
Alana and Matt.
Yeah.
It's this team up it's kind of freaky the way that our partners are similar in the way that I find that we're a little bit similar. So supportive and very strong in places that we're not. They're able to help us pull up the slack and it's just awesome. It's such a great team.
Yeah, that's really nice. And it's nice to have that village and that support, because I'm sure there are many stressors sometimes that crop up that maybe require attention when you had hoped that it wouldn't have to be business or work related, and sometimes it needs to be. It's just kind of the reality of having your own business. As lovely as it is, there are things that you're like, okay, I got to focus on. Yes. You work in the business and on the business at the same time. So
I do relate to and love all of those like things online where it's like, my wife opened a business, so I opened a business. And I'm just like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you're helping just as much. Say goodbye to your weekends.
Yeah, bye-bye. We're working. Yeah. And I guess my last question for you both is, what do you hope for Poppies in the future?
Great question. Yeah. I think growth is the big thing. Like it's been really going well so far. Knock on wood, everything has been going really well. This community has been so supportive of us, so we definitely want to stay in Orillia and grow if we can. We really love this space. If you've seen the ceiling, then you get it. No, but it's like being on this corner is really nice. It's in a great location. But yeah, I think like growth and maybe I don't know exactly what that looks like right now, but some form of growth would be, I think, our focus.
Where can people come and visit you, or do you have like socials that people can follow?
Heck yeah. So Poppies Bagels on Instagram. That's us. If you want to swing by the shop, we're at 442 Mississauga Street West. We are close to the library, right across from the library if you're in Orillia. We also sell out of Mariposa Market. And for anyone in Collingwood, we actually just started Misfits Bodega, just started selling our bagels there. So they're a little sandwich shop, and they're going to be selling at the shop and at the market. But yeah, like come and say hi to us. That's our favorite thing, is meeting customers and chatting with you. So any way you want to chat to us, message us on Instagram, come by the shop. That would be awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me.
Of course.
So
yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to come back and eat more bagels.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to the entire episode. All the links and info you heard in this conversation will be featured in the show notes on our website, villagermagazine.ca/podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing to our channels like YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from so you never miss an episode. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.